On Monday, apparent comedian Chelsea Handler took to Twitter to appreciate the arrests of 2 Chinese tourists in Berlin for making the Nazi Heil Hitler gesture in front of the Reichstag. Wouldn't it be nice to have laws here in the US for people who think racism is funny, she asked. And it's true. The story is in fact legit, and it makes you wonder how a person in the business of joke making would not only be comfortable with, but advocate for criminalizing unacceptable jokes, like telling Nick Cannon to go drink a grape soda, or joking about Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie splitting their kids up by race, or like when Chelsea herself participated in the same type of Nazi parody she now condemns. But Chelsea's law is about punishing people who think racism is funny, not people who thought racism is funny. And besides, she's moved on to more serious roles, like crying about her own heroism, to reject her urge to move to Spain and instead stay here, fighting Trump with poorly rated Netflix tiers.
Because I want to move to Spain. I really, really want to move to Spain right now. And everyone in my office is like, you have a responsibility, you have a voice, and you need to use it, and you have to be here. Sorry, I hate fucking crying. I can't remember.
It's Chelsea's longing for Europe, and more specifically, her longing for Europe's more restrictive approach to hate speech, that prompted me to return to a topic that's been on my list for a few weeks: the rise of the European thought police. Or at least the rise of the thought police in one particular English county, Wiltshire, a rural county in southwest England, a place to which I was previously unfamiliar. Wiltshire's police department created some buzz on Twitter a few weeks back with a series of Orwellian tweets that weren't really clear in purpose. Hate has no home in Wiltshire. Report anything that makes you question if you're being treated fairly. You can't hide from us if you're spewing abuse from behind a computer screen. Our boys and gals in blue will find you. It looks like we need the grammar police to take care of the thought police, but it turns out there is actually a context to these tweets. The message that there is never an excuse to spread hate is hashtagged 999 what's your emergency, because that is the name of a British documentary TV show which follows members of local emergency services responding to calls and investigating crimes. The show is now in its 4th season, and the season premiere examines hate crimes in Wiltshire. And it's what counts as crime that's interesting. Is hate itself a crime? Is typing something on a computer screen a crime, as the tweet warned us? The things to which this police force responds as crimes are baffling, particularly because the show's intro emphasizes limited police resources and increasing demand for their services. Oh, and sorry for having to manipulate the footage so much. You can blame YouTube's oppressive copyright policy for that. Sorry, I mean, Google and YouTube do a great job of giving content creators all the tools and freedom they need to make great content. What do I got to say to get an ad roll around here? Demonetized. Yeah, I thought so. Just roll the clip.
Every year there's less money.
Every time I actually leave the place, there's nowhere.
We are on our way.
Every year there's more demand.
Actually, we're all cracking under the pressure.
The episode features 3 primary investigations, and to be fair, the first of them is a drunken, racially motivated attack on a shopkeeper. I don't dispute investigating the crimes of assault and vandalism, though the investigators did ask the suspect about her support for Brexit for seemingly no reason to close the segment. I guess they're trying to link support for Brexit to assault somehow.
What did you think about the Brexit referendum?
I didn't watch it. I just did. Things like that, I just don't get involved. There's nothing to do with it.
If she barely knows anything about Brexit, then why is it implied that Brexit has anything to do with this crime? That raised my eyebrow a notch, but the next 2 segments completed the ascent. Our first case involves Ellie, a young lady who received some mean text messages one night about her mixed-race boyfriend. That's when her boyfriend's mom called the emergency line.
Oh, hello. My son's girlfriend's staying with us tonight, and she does some really disturbing messages. My son's mixed race. And it says, "Hi Ellie, why is a nice white girl like you fucking a nigger?"
Facebook is my worst nightmare. I hate it. Every time I get a call, first thing is, well, what happened was I was on Facebook, and it's like, Bloody Facebook.
Imagine your job is emergency dispatch, dealing with all of the horrors of the world, and yet Facebook stories are your worst nightmare. I mean, I don't mind hearing your last breaths as you bleed out, but please, spare me your gossipy bullshit. Besides, unless it's in this sentence,
999, what is your emergency?
yeah, hi, a guy just told me on Facebook that he's coming to kill me right now. The word Facebook has no place on an emergency call anyhow.
It's just quite a shock, like that people are still like that, you know.
The internet makes it all too easy to be insensitive and hurtful towards different race and religion.
It's on as a priority, so they would hope to get somebody to you within the next hour.
Okay, great.
And they do. They actually send out police officers to investigate offensive text messages.
You got a mobile phone? Right, so what it is Cameron, basically, we've received a report this afternoon, okay, of offensive text messages sent to a girl called Eleanor. Based on the text messages and linking it through Facebook and social media, the account's come back registered yourself.
And they arrest this guy. And upon his arrest, we learn more. He's physically disabled.
So if I just leave Matt here for a minute.
I didn't know what type of person to expect. I don't suppose there's any real sort of image that you could have of anybody that would do that.
Now, don't get me wrong, I can see why this sort of investigation would be necessary if the guy was making credible threats. But that's not why they brought him down to the station. They brought him down to the station for being offensive and racist.
Cameron's been arrested this morning by myself after he was identified as a suspect for sending abusive, offensive and racist text messages.
And it didn't take long for the police to get to the bottom of what motivates such a heinous crime. It was Friday night shit posting.
I just happened to see her profile somehow on Facebook one time, and she had actually posted her mobile phone number publicly. I do it for Friday night entertainment. TV's broke. I just thought, I know this would be fun. I'm going to wind someone up.
What, with that content and messages?
Yeah, well, I knew that would get a reaction.
Are you still getting black seed, or would you like some white? Now, you say you did that just because you thought it would elicit a reaction.
Yeah.
So actually, are you racist at all?
No. My dog is black.
You gotta admire that he continues to shitpost during the police interrogation.
I'm God. I want you to repent for taking that monkey seed. That's a bit nasty for a joke.
In hindsight, it is nasty. It's very nasty. But I mean, people are nasty to me all the time. They go, you're crippled or you're spastic.
Why are the police trying to determine exactly how nasty these jokes were? Well, as it turns out, the nastiness of the jokes will determine the prison sentence.
In court, Cameron pleaded guilty and received a 9-month sentence. But after his disability was taken into account, he was spared jail.
Huh. Good to know. The thought police have a cripple exception. That's an easy out when they come for us. Just break your own legs when they break down your door. The next segment is just as frustrating. The mother of a 9-year-old girl calls the emergency line because kids are being mean to her daughter at school.
Do you know, you said there's racial abuse. Do you know what they said to her?
Yeah, they've called her a nigger.
Okay.
They've told her that her face is dirty. It's not very nice things.
No.
Really.
What I've done is I've put it on as a priority response, so we'll get officers out within the hour to come and speak to you and your daughter.
That's fine, that's fine, thank you.
That's not a problem at all, take care.
There is a minority of younger people who feel it is acceptable to be able to say, do these particular type of things. I think they know it's wrong, don't care. I can say what I want, and it's sort of almost an attitude that really needs to be changed.
Well, thank God the Wiltshire police are here to protect and to serve and to make sure that children know that bad words are strictly prohibited. The Wiltshire police are here to round up those children who think they can say whatever they like. The little girl and her mom visit the station to explain what happened.
Did they say anything nasty?
I don't want to say it.
If you could say it to me, obviously is it upsetting for you to say?
The N-word, and he said I've been putting mud on my face and it stained, that's it.
Somebody said you've been putting mud on your face.
And now it's stained.
And now it's stained it.
He called me the N-word, and then he said, do you even know what that means? And I said yes, but I didn't.
Had you ever heard that nasty word before?
Mm-mm.
Do you know if that's a good word or bad word? I think it's a bad word.
But do you think you should be picked on for being different?
No, I think that's a bit insane, because if you think about it, everyone's got something that's the same. Like maybe a colour of eyes, maybe got bushy eyebrows, maybe you got... maybe you can do this.
I agree it's not nice to pick on a person because of his or her race. I will teach my future children not to do that, and I will punish them if they do. But that's just it, isn't it? Isn't this an appropriate matter for parents and for teachers? Not for the law and police? And these don't appear to be isolated anecdotes for the Wiltshire police. They appear to be priorities, as dispatch said to the little girl's mother.
I've put it on as a priority response.
It might explain, at least partly, why Wiltshire is one of the worst police forces in the country at solving actual crimes like burglary, securing a conviction in just 1 of 12 burglary cases in 2014. I'm sure they got the racist burglar, though, and after all, that's the one that really matters. And that is a component of what this police force actually thinks, the philosophy under which it operates. Is it the job of police to control people's actions that we as a society have deemed out of bounds? Or is it the job of police to control people's thoughts? Listen to Angus McPherson, the Police and Crime Commissioner for Wiltshire.
But not only crime, it's also hate crime incidents. And I think we also need to remember that our life is not about bringing people before the court solely. It's about changing society and the views of society.
It's about changing society and the views of society. This coming from the guy in charge of police operations. That is an astounding thing for me to hear. And even though we all have varying views on what the proper role of the police should be, which laws are appropriate and which laws aren't, there is one thing I think we should all consider. Once you surrender what's in here, you have surrendered everything. If you no longer have the liberty of your own thought, you have no liberty at all. If there is clearly defined right think and wrong think, there is no reason for you to think at all. Do you want good ideas in your head because you've arrived at them yourself, through your own critical thought, through your own independent reasoning as an individual? Or do you want good ideas in your head because Angus McPherson put them there, and Angus McPherson says they're good? I know which option I prefer. And so if the question is, what is your emergency? And the answer is mean words and thoughts, I suggest to you, the actual emergency is a police force that doesn't care about fundamental human freedom. At least I would consider that urgent. Or I would, but thankfully I am an ocean and thousands of miles of nothing away from that nonsense. Thanks as always for listening and for supporting this channel. Always appreciate that thoughtful discussion down below, and especially over on Twitter. That is at ML Christiansen. You're always welcome to come hang out and chat in my live streams. Those are linked down in the description. Looking forward to it.